The Tomorrow Show. I'm Allison Gamache.
And I'm Chris Morello, and we're your hosts.
This week we have a controversial topic, foster care. Foster care is a great way to give children without a home a caring family that they need. However, it is also controversial because being in the foster care system has negative impacts on development.
There are almost 500,000 children in foster care in the United States alone, ranging from infants all the way to the age of 18, and the average age of those kids is 8 years old.
Research shows that some of the children within the foster care system have had developmental issues both cognitively and behaviorally.
Today we have expert Jia Young to talk about some issues in foster care requirements and a new multidimensional foster care program for preschoolers. Jia Young.
Hello, I'm your expert Jia Yang today. So I'm going to talk about foster care, and there are some basic requirements for being a foster care parents. For example, these parents have to be over 25 years old. They could not have any criminal records, and they also have to have enough income for daily expense and at least rent or own a house. So obviously that these requirements are not that strict, so which creates a concern to these foster care children. So today I'm going to talk about more details about these programs. Hey, so first we are going to talk about a different foster care program, which is called multi-dimensional foster care for preschoolers. So unlike regular foster care program, it requires more detailed information about the kids and an intensive training for the parents. And some study shows this multi-dimensional program sometimes lead to a better outcome. So for example, in one study, the children was assigned to either multi-dimensional foster care group or a regular foster care group. And for the parents in the multi-dimensional foster care group, they receive a intense training from the social agency and also meet with this agency regularly. So, and finally, the result shows that this child in the multi-dimensional group always has longer permanent placement compared to the regular group. Although this program always sometimes leads to a better outcome, it has some shortcut. For example, it needs a higher debit from the society, and also it need a lot of information about this kid, which require much more contribution from these social agencies. So secondly, besides the multi-dimensional program, one study also gave us some suggestion to solve this problem. So in a study, the researchers interview few foster care children to talk about their social network. So in this interview, they find out that these foster care children do not want others to know that they come from a foster care family, and they always feel devalued and different from their social life. So, on the other hand, that this interview also reveals some strategies from resilient children about how they manage their social work. So firstly, they manage their foster care background carefully, and secondly, they also form closer relationship among other foster care children. So this result turns out that people should to encourage the social relationship among the group of foster care children. And for non-foster care children and other society members, they should have a warmer attitude towards these foster care children.
Thank you, Jaya, for that information on strategies to make the foster care system better.
We now have another expert, Tyreek, here to talk about the current issues in the foster care system in the United States.
He will be discussing cognitive and behavioral issues that arise in children who go through the system. Tyreek?
My name is Tyreek Richardson. I'm a child developmentalist expert. I'm here to talk to you today about foster care programs and how they affect the children in them. Foster care programs are not a negative thing. However, foster care programs have a lot of negative connotations to them as they cause some problems for children who are raised in them. Whereas people see foster care negatively sometimes, foster care has a lot of positive to it. It has the fact that it has a temporary home for the children, and the fact that children can have adults in their lives that can help them when they need help and they have shelter can be seen in a positive light. A lot of that is good in the foster care system. However, children who go through the system usually have a lot of cognitive and developmental delays, and that causes a lot of problems, as those who are in a family situation or in a community group situation, they have better cognitive and developmental abilities than those in institutionalized situations. And this was showed in a study in which researchers gave the Bayley Mental Developmental Index test to children in institutionalized homes and children in community group homes. And those in the institutionalized homes scored a 66 on the mental index, and those in community groups scored a 103 on the group index, which goes to show that those in institutionalized groups develop cognitively slower than those in group homes or in those in family groups. Now, that isn't to say that institutionalized communities are bad, but that does go to show that it does have some negative effects to it, and it also does have some behavioral and social delays that also comes with being in a foster care situation. There are a lot of children who experience a lot of stress in these situations because they're in situations that they don't understand, that they don't comprehend, and cortisol is released in the brain as a hormone to kind of cope with the stress. And cortisol is a hormone that causes a lot of issues in children. High levels of cortisol in children often result in anxiety, often result in depression, also result in a lot of social phobias, and also result in a lot of mental disorders. And these can limit children from developing as regular people. Now, this isn't to say that foster care programs were just flat out negative and that they should just be done away with, because like I said, they give children a chance to be raised in an environment where parents don't see they're fit to raise their kids, so they send them to foster cares in order for their children to be raised by the institution. This can also be produced on. There's room for growth in this field. There's a lot of positive that comes along with foster care, as well as there's negative. And with more education, a little bit more research, I think that a lot of what people see in foster care can be more positive, and children can develop just as cognitively and developmentally fast as those who are in a family situation or community situation. I think that it's a positive thing, and I think that it has a lot of room for growth, like anything else in this world. So I think that foster care is a positive, and I think that foster care should be seen in a positive light, but also understand that there's room for growth because the negative side effects also limit the children who go through the process. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us, Tyreek. As we have learned here, the foster care system is a great way to help children in need. However, with more education on the issues within the system, improvements can be made.
From The Tomorrow Show, I'm Chris Morella.
And I'm Allison Gamache.
And we'll see you tomorrow.